Hey everybody, J. Scott Helms here, and today I want to talk to you about fractional weight plates. Alright, here we go. Alright, so as I said at the beginning, today we're going to talk about fractional weight plates. This video is going to be a little different than some of the other ones I've done. Normally I do an unbox and review that piece of gear. Today I'm going to review this piece of gear without the unbox, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about why I have absolutely fallen in love with these things. Okay, so first, what's the product I have? These are made by a company called 44 Sport, and let me show you their logo. Might be a little hard to see. This is actually the bag they came in. Little drawstring deal. It's actually a pretty good bag. The plates came in this. Alright, and so what you get with that is you get 2 quarter-pound plates, 0.25s, 2 half-pound plates, 2 3/4-pound plates, and you guessed it, 2 1-pound plates. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about these and why I like them. This particular brand, they have a website. I suggest skipping it. It's not very good. If you go online and just Google fractional plates, there's a ton of companies making them. You can go to Amazon, eBay, you can find them everywhere. I actually settled on these for a couple of reasons. Number one, they're steel with a painted coating on them. I assume it's just kind of some kind of paint. I haven't tried to scratch it off there. Might be hard to see, but their logo, their company name, and then the weight is on the bottom of each one. But they're color coded, so you know the differences in them. Think about kettlebells, same kind of idea. So these are steel, painted, as I said. If you go to looking out there, you will see rubber, urethane, cast iron. I even saw some aluminum ones. As you know, if you've looked at plates, you get into rubber and urethane, the prices go through the roof. Cast iron can be iffy on the weight because sometimes they undercast and try to meet the weight with the enamel coating they put on there. They're up and down, they're all over the place. Though these are not calibrated, the weights are very close. I did weigh them, and I went with them because they were steel with a painted coating on them. Bang for the buck. I paid $29 and some change for these on Amazon. I didn't want to spend 70 or 80 bucks for the urethane ones just because I wasn't sure. I wasn't convinced when I first bought them how much I was going to like them. Okay, so having said that, they're reviewed really well. The company makes a couple of other products. I had no interest. I didn't really investigate those. But as far as the fractional plates go, looking at reviews, these were reviewed really well. They averaged something like 4.8 stars. So for 29 bucks, I pulled the trigger and got a set. The nice little bag, it tells you in there right up that the bag is for taking them back and forth to the gym with you. So when I first got them, I wasn't really interested in that. As you know from watching my other videos, most of my training I do right here at home. I don't do any plate training at the gym. And that's going to come into play in a minute. I actually think that could be something very important. But anyway, before I get too ahead of myself, you can get these in both pounds and kilograms. So if you get them in pounds, as I said, you're going to get a quarter-pound, half-pound, 3/4, and 1 pound. If you want them in kilograms, you're going to get 0.125, 0.25, 0.5, and 0.75 kilograms. Both are available easily enough. I found them everywhere I looked. Different manufacturers, some of them only have kilograms, some of them only have pounds, some do both. It just depends on what you want. And I found that in everything. That was in the urethane, the rubber, steel, cast. Any shape you want, doesn't matter, they're out there. So what I'll probably include in here, right around in here somewhere, I'll throw in some pictures while I'm talking and show you the different versions if you're not familiar with them. So looking around, there are basically seem to be 2 schools of thought on the fractional plates. Either they're a great idea or they're a complete waste of time. I actually read an article that sparked my interest in them. I had asked around, I ran across them about 3 months ago, and it was the first time I had ever really been aware of them. I asked a coworker of mine who's a big gym rat if he ever used them, knew anything about them. He was only aware of them, never been to a gym that had them. He didn't own any. And so I went online, did a little bit of reading, and I found a great article, and I will put a link here. The gentleman's name, I have it here, is Tim Stewart over at gymcrafter.com. It's a good article, it takes about 5 minutes to read, and I will link to it here so you can get a look at it. He's the expert, not me. He had a couple of great points that really sparked my interest. I even went on to read some forums on people using them, loving them, hating them, this kind of thing. And what struck me is that if you are on the beginning end of weightlifting, for my example here, I'm going to use 45 pounds, like the bar weight, standard 7-foot Olympic bar, 45 pounds. On the upper end, I'm going to use 300 pounds as an example. I am far from the upper end. I am not a 300-pound pusher, may never be. But I am on that lower end. And I realize that it's hard to make a 5-pound jump every time you want to increase. For me personally, I only use my weights maybe 1 day a week, 2 if it's raining or something's going on outside. I train with kettlebells, I get out in the yard and flip tires, I've got battle ropes, I've got a whole list of things that I do. So for me to make a 5-pound jump in my bench press or anything else is not always possible. It would take me weeks, and months to come close to it because I don't train constantly with the Olympic weights. For me to do a couple of workouts and be able to go up, say, 2 pounds, that's a huge win for me. Now I realize if you're up at the upper end, you're pushing 250, 300 pounds, to add a pound or two might not be a big deal for you. You might not even have the desire to do it. But in my mind, not knowing much about these, it seems to me that number one, as a beginner, on the lower end of those weights, if you can have an incremental step to get to that 5-pound jump, these are a great way to go. If I can add, say I'm not ready to make that 5-pound jump, but I can make 1.5 pounds, and then next week come back and jump up 2 pounds, and then maybe the following week jump up to 5 pounds, I'm still gaining. That's a mental win for me. And that's another point that I really like about these, is the actual mental aspect of this, where it's a huge sense of accomplishment. You know, if you've trained doing anything, I don't care if you're running, rowing, the elliptical, free weights, doesn't matter. It's easy to get discouraged. You take a few days off, you get sick, you break a finger, you break a bone, something goes wrong, you can't work out for a week, you immediately feel the slide back. Like I was doing this specific thing for 30 minutes and I was good to go. I took a week off, I come back, I'm at 26 minutes, and I'm a freaking wreck when I'm done. You feel that slide back. When you're putting in the time and you're bearing down and you don't feel the gain of any sort, it can become discouraging. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like that's probably universal. These little things could be a quick answer to that. Now, having said that, I can see how they're not something you'd want to rely on forever. I can also see how they would be a good plateau buster. If you got stuck somewhere and couldn't make that next jump, to go incrementally might be a great way to do it. Might take you a little longer, but what's it they say about anything worth doing, right? So, having said all that, do you have to go out and buy fractional plates to do micro loading? The answer is no. In my research, I found that you can use baseball bat weights, chains, big washers, and it's funny that that popped up because the shop I work in, I use washers about this size all the time. Now I don't know what the weights are, I would have to look into that, but it was something that never occurred to me until I started looking into this. If you want to know a lot more, again, I said it a minute ago, I'm not an expert. The article I'm linking to for Tim Stewart, he is. The book of knowledge, Google, will tell you anything you want to know. My experience, though, is all I really want to share here. Take it with a grain of salt. I read a lot of different reviews about these things, a lot of different opinions, and it seems to boil down to stay away from them or absolutely get a set. For me, I'm on the absolutely get yourself instead of these. If you can pick them up on the low end for like 30 bucks, even if the weights are slightly off and the finish isn't perfect, these are a great addition to your home gym, especially, I think, if you're someone just getting started, because you can make those leaps that you might not normally make. I'm not someone, as I said, that can make a 5 or 10 pound jump on the reg. I need that incremental step. Another thing that I noticed with these, and I'm sure if you've got more than one bar out there, you might be able to relate to this. I've got my 7-foot bar, which is 45 pounds. I've got a 6-foot bar, which weighs 33 pounds. I've got a 5-foot bar that weighs 37 pounds. I've got a hex bar that weighs 44 pounds. So for me to do the same lifts with my hex bar and my 7-foot bar, it takes a little extra math to get the bar loaded right, because the bars actually weigh something different. So you end up going under your normal weight or a few pounds over your normal weight. And depending on how you train, it might not be a big deal. But if you're like me and you have the OCD where you just want everything to be the same even though you're using a different bar, these are a great equalizer. So you got a bar that weighs 2 pounds different than your other bar, or 3 pounds different. Well, you can make that up with fractional plates. Now, is it a crutch? Maybe. Does it help your OCD and make you mentally get through a workout a little better? Great. To me, these things are great for that reason. 5 bars, all 5 weigh something different. I can balance that out by having these fractional plates. That way I don't have to overload or underload if I decide to do deadlifts with my hex bar versus my 6-foot bar versus my 7-foot bar. As I said, 99% of my workout is done here at home. I have a very small space here in the house, and I don't like hefting stuff outside if I don't need to. So inside I'll do a lot of stuff with a 5-foot bar, 6-foot bar. Sometimes I got enough stuff cleared off or moved that I can use the 7. But these are great for sort of balancing out the weights on your different bars. Again, going back to, you can look around, there's some great stuff online using chains, baseball bat weights, the big washers. There's all kinds of great ideas out there. Again, being able to travel with these, if you want to put them in your bag and take them with you, they're easy enough to do. I mean, the whole thing weighs about 8 pounds, not even that much. So as I said, looking around online, I talked briefly about sort of 2 schools of thought, love them, hate them. Alan Thrall, if you aren't already familiar with him, look him up here on YouTube. He's a very knowledgeable guy. I subscribe to him, I follow him. I remember watching one of his videos a couple of months back about fractional plates. And he made a comment in there that kind of stuck with me. And it's something to the effect of, it's better to succeed 1 pound at a time than fail 5 pounds at a time. And at the time I was looking, I heard it and it stuck with me. But once I got these fractional plates, it really made sense. Especially for someone like me who is a beginner with the free weights, because it's not something I train with all the time. I can definitely see how I would make these micro gains as opposed to someone who trains regularly and multiple days a week with free weights who might more easily make a 5 or a 10 pound jump. That is not going to be me. It probably won't ever be me. So the reason that I say these are a must-have in your gym, in your home gym, is because it gives you a wide variety of choices on how to jump up. Okay? Does that help if I make hand gestures? Again, just balancing out your bars alone makes these worth it for 30 bucks. Maybe it's not a big deal to you, and then it wouldn't matter. But I think these are a great addition to your home gym. For $30, you just can't go wrong. Feel free to take a look at the couple of other sites I'm going to link to. Again, these guys are experts and pro trainers. They have a little more insight than I do, but coming from somebody who is a beginner and who saw maybe a different use for these, I think these are a must-have. That's all I got for this time. If you got something out of this, please give me a like. Please subscribe. It helps the channel grow. I really appreciate you watching. Can't thank you enough. If you have any ideas or any questions, post them in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Until next time, see you later.